when this whole area was being settled, there weren't enough priests to have a mass for the community and baptisms and that sort of thing. The hermano penitentes were the first sort of lay ministers that came out here. They established little oratorios or prayer spaces, and then eventually they set up larger meeting places. This is called the Morada. Morada means a place of dwelling or house in Spanish. So this is our house or house of God here. And throughout the region in northern New Mexico, there were a lot of different moradas and hermano penitentes. Here, for example, during the highlight, there were about 73 hermanos here at one time, and that's why the morada was so large.
I've been a member of the Morada for 31 years. My family, my grandfather and my dad were in the Morada. My grandfather was in the Morada since about 1898, and then his parents were in the Morada, so it's been a traditional thing for probably 150 years.
During Holy Week, we have a series of religious activities taking place that are open to the public. Good Friday, that's the big day. In the Morada, praying since early in the morning and preparing ourselves for the spiritual activities and then receiving the people that come in. We pray, we do an encuentro, which is called an encounter of the Virgin Mary and Jesus. And then we do a procession to the cross. We carry the cross and we go up the hill. We stop and pray and continue our procession and singing alabaos to the top of the hill. And we place the cross there and we leave it there for the duration of Holy Week. This is a little hole where we set our cross right here. So this is where we have our crucifix here and our prayers take place here. So this is our historic easement that we've been used to using ever since, as long as the Morada's been there.
Yeah, we've been using this since probably in the 1870s.
Charlie was out here one day and all of a sudden he saw the equipment moving in. We happen to share a common boundary with Cielo Vista Ranch. And it's not the issue that they can't build a fence because a fence is a use by right. The reason we launched our complaint is because their activity impacts our property directly. You can see how they traversed the landscape, cutting across the arroyos, leaving a lot of potential channels for erosion and sedimentation. We're already facing that issue. And the other concern is that they encroached upon our historic easement that we have for the Calvario, the Via Crucis, the Way of the Cross. This is a part of our procession trail here, the trail to the Calvario, which, without the fence being here, it was just a very open process. Now it's kind of a psychological impact. So once you get past the fence, I mean, this is what it felt like before, like this, So now it's kind of like the threshold is that, talk about the sacred and the profane. It's exactly what we have here, a segregation in an effort to contain supposedly buffaloes and wildlife. No longer will the elk be able to migrate even down to the river to drink water.
Stuff's kind of changing. Wow, this is the worst thing I've seen, this fencing and racing us off here and that kind of stuff, but it's getting pretty sad. The Morada means traditional, historical, spiritual. It's kind of like a feeling, a spiritual feeling in there. It's a holy place. And that's part of my life. Kind of brings tears in my eyes. Sorry, I'm upset. Let me get my composure a little bit. I'm okay now. And I think that's what's happening all over the United States. And we're probably not the only ones that have gone through this kind of a situation. So I would like people to know that we're here in this corner of the world, God's country, and all of a sudden everything kind of changes without even letting the people know what's going on. I kind of talked to them about it, but didn't do any good.
In other words, you guys don't mean anything to us.
I feel like my freedom's violated.
And this is just a microcosm of what's going on. The rest of the properties along the road here are subject to the same kind of thing. Private ownership of the mountain has imposed a hardship on the community and continues to, and even with more more vigorous pressure and activity taking place now, so it's kind of accelerated in a way. And especially during the last administration, I mean, that we saw that very obvious, this act of the fence building, the border fence. That's exactly what's happened here, it finally came to our community. As far as the religious traditions of the penitentes, we're carrying on traditions that our ancestors brought. It's important that we defend and protect what we have here because it's our tradition. It's so important for us to highlight the importance of the Morada. This is the last one that survives in Colorado that has active membership, and it's sad to see it now being pressured in addition to all the other things that we face in our society. We stand in defense of our Morada, and as Hermanos of the Morada, our charge primarily is a religious one, so we don't want to get involved politically in the issue, but we also can't stand here helpless. We also have a voice in at least having some kind of an opinion about what happens in the landscape, and having to live here, we have to live with the consequences.